What is up, guys? It is Dom from Serene Speed, and today we're going over fuel systems. So, in your fuel system, you'll see here I have the whiteboard of truth, okay? You have what's called a return, and a returnless system, okay? So your return system is your fuel pump. That we're going to call this fuel pump right here. Everyone see the big block? There's a fuel pump. Okay. Your fuel pump is either sitting in your fuel tank or it is auxiliary. Hold on, I'll show you your auxiliary fuel pump. Your auxiliary fuel pump, depending on what kind of car you have or what car you're building, can look something like this or like this. So either this motor with a pump is sitting in the tank, in the drop-in section of the tank. Some people call it the fuel sending unit. It'll have a pump, have a little hose on it, have a little screen on it. That's typically where you'll find your drop-in pump kits. But you'll have your fuel pump, right? A little screen on it. This is called a external fuel pump. This has a hose, and the hose goes into the tank with a screen on it. Out of your fuel pump, you'll have your fuel filter. Now you'll either have a canister fuel filter like this, or if you're fancy and you're running a pump like this, you're probably going to have a better set of filters. So what this does is it sends the fuel this away with 12 volts of power to this pump right here and up to the motor. Now, if this pump was to run all day long wide open, your motor would be getting way too much fuel. So this is a fuel pressure regulator. Now this fuel pressure regulator is for a carbureted setup. What you do is there's a little nut on top of here, right? With a little Allen key. You adjust it to 6-7 pounds, maybe 8 pounds for your carburetor setup. That's why there's a gauge sitting right here. With that being said, not all regulators are going to look like this. Some regulators with big pumps, such as this pump, are going to regulate so much fuel that you're going to need what's called a return. Now, let me draft up my little schematic here for you guys and show you. We're going to use P as pump. P. All right, and then it's going to go to filter, regulator, later, and it's either going to go to the fuel rail, or carb. And then that's going to go out to tank. And at the regulator, there's going to be another all the way over there. P, tank, filter, regulator, carb, or I can't write today, Christmas, or fuel rail. So this is basically how this works, right? You got your sits at the tank, fuel sits in the tank. Sits in the tank, goes to the pump. Then it goes out to the filter. Then your big pump, such as that one, that MagnaFuel 750, is going to pump too much fuel, like I said. Now that's going to go to your regulator, and wherever it needs to go is going to go to the fuel rail or the carb. and all the extra fuel is going to go back to the tank right yonder. Now, in the returnless systems are for not oversized pumps, or basically your stock cars that aren't making 700-800 horsepower. They don't need a return because they're not pushing that much fuel. The pump is okay to deadhead and pump as much as it needs to. That'll go from the tank to the pump, filter, regulator, and carb or fuel rail. Now, fuel injected systems and carb systems run at way different PSIs. A carb system needs volume, not pressure. A EFI system, or electronic fuel injection system, needs fuel pressure as well. So that's why you see on all these high horsepower fuel injected cars, big return lines. You're going to want 45, 60 PSI, you know, some guys even run 70, 80 PSI, depending on your setup, of fuel at all times sitting at the regulator ready for the EFI system to use it. It needs pressure because it needs to go through these little injectors to atomize the fuel. Now, your carb, we're not getting into big carb basics and fuel injector basics and all that, but your carb basically dumps fuel. Meow. Your EFI will spray fuel at a precise amount, you know, perfectly, atomize it completely perfectly, you know. But like I said, back to the whiteboard of truth. Typically in your stock car, you'll see something along the lines of, let's wipe this off some. Use the shirt. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. In the tank, right? This is a very scientific setup for a fuel tank. You'll see a circle. In that circle will be your fuel pump, FP, you know, and there'll be a screen, and sometimes there's going to be a little filter in there, a little canister filter. I wish I had one to show you guys, but I do not, since I only really like working on hot rods. I don't like working on regular cars. But inside that little lock and key fuel sender, you'll have your pump, you'll have your filter, and it will come right from there to a regulator, then go into the car. Now, why is this important? You know, it's like, oh, look at all these parts. See, look at this, look at this, look at this. Why does it matter? Because this size pump and this size pump, obviously they're different sizes. But besides that, this one makes more fuel. This pump will produce enough horsepower, enough fuel to support like 1,200 horsepower. This pump, it's a Holley Blue. You'll get like 500, maybe 600 out of it. And they're built to a different standard. They have different fuel flow, and you can get into, oh, this pump makes this many liters per hour or gallons per minute or yada, 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 yada. But yeah, basically. So basically, in your fuel system, you have your fuel pump, comes out the tank or it's in the tank, and then your filter, right? Your regulator, and it goes to your EFI or carb, yada, yada, yada. But I just wanted to make that super basic video. Obviously, I want to get into more basic tech tips that the regular guy that's getting into cars can understand. Obviously, in the car community, everyone knows it's a lot of information to take in, and if you can take it in at a slow, bite-sized amount, I can help you with that, then I think that's a great thing, you know. But anyway, thank you for watching. This has been Dom with Serene Speed, and have a great day.